Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. This Thursday morning, the 11th of June, the World Cup starts today, and Celtic still haven't announced the manager. Morning as yet. Still haven't announced anything. Martin O'Neill's in Kirkcaldy tomorrow night. Still believe he hasn't cancelled that at the last minute. There's going to be some interesting conversations with Martin and Kirkcaldy, that's for sure. Because they'll no muck about, those lads in Kirkcaldy, like, and they'll be straight out with it. It's happening, Martin. Are you the manager or no? Just tell us. You're not getting out until you tell us who the manager is. Martin O'Neill might be here for a long night in Kirkcaldy. Anyway, that's been widely reported this morning that we all know that Celtic are facing an overhaul. We know that there's many players want to leave. Rio Hatate, Daiz Maeda, Arnie Engels, just to name a few. And then there's all the players that left that were surplus to requirement because they were on loan deals from Celtic. Massive rebuild this summer. And the transfer window opens next week. You would think it would be a great time for Celtic to get on the front foot and get someone in and get the deals done and have the manager in place so that when the window opens, we could start getting players in. Because there's a lot of players that aren't at the World Cup that are at teams that Celtic could be interested in. They could get deals done quite easily. But no, Celtic, has been said, are still in talks with Sean Maloney and Fozzie, and they are miles apart when it comes to wages. Simple as that. When you look at Sean Maloney, Celtic got lucky with Sean Maloney because he would still be on the wage, even though he took up the position as assistant manager last season. He would still be on the wage that he was on when he was just the pathway manager, which wouldn't be the same wage as if you were the assistant manager of the first team. Be way down below his pay grade that he would normally be at. But he did it for the love of the club. He took up the position to help out Celtic at the time. If Sean Maloney was interviewed for a different position within the club, as was suggested 2 weeks ago, it puts Celtic in an awkward position because Celtic are now going back to Maloney and saying, well, what Martin wants you as his assistant manager. And Maloney, well, that changes the goals when it comes to wages then. It's a completely different wage bracket when you're assistant manager. It's a very Celtic issue, isn't it? If it is to be true. It wouldn't surprise me. The fact that Celtic are looking for a football operations person after Paul Tisdale left, they still haven't replaced that position. If Sean Maloney does go into the assistant manager's job, Maloney then comes away from the pathway manager's job. That means that Celtic need to get a pathway manager, which means that we're no further forward. And with the news yesterday that Michael Nicholson is going nowhere because he's on a board of directors at the SPFL, it's the same old Celtic. Nothing's changed. The club hasn't learned a thing from the protests of last season. The club will hope that Martin O'Neill will help, calm the fans down. But if they can't agree terms with Sean Maloney and Mark Fotheringham, if they think that just because they love Celtic that they're going to get these people on the cheap, Sean Maloney's had quite a career as assistant manager. He will know the wage bracket that he should be on, especially at a club like Celtic. Mark Fotheringham, he's been assistant manager to some top managers at some top clubs. He will know the wage that he should be on. And it seemingly is highly rated at the club, and that's what makes it worse. I wonder if John Kennedy had the same treatment at Celtic over the years than Sean is still on a YTF scheme at Celtic. It wouldn't surprise me. Groundhog Day as per normal. Yes, it's very true. It is, isn't it? Super chat from Brian this morning. Do we still have the same negotiation teams we did from last summer? in January. How do we expect? Yeah, it's still Michael Nicholson and Chris Mackay that are concluding the negotiations. Why do we think that this summer is not going to be any different? Do you know, if you think that this summer is going to be a fantastic summer with regards to Celtic, I think that we're wrong. Because surely the pathway is wanting an easier position to fill than an assistant manager. I think that, Mr. Skate, I think it's because Sean Maloney did such a good job as pathway manager. Darren O'Dea didn't do a great job. The stuff that was coming out about Sean Maloney and coming out from clubs like Inverness and stuff like that, the talks that Sean Maloney had been having, it was completely different level stuff from Darren O'Dea. You want someone that can take that position and that knows the club. So you want someone in that position where they know what it means to come. The pathway manager job would be perfect for James Forrest. I think that would be a perfect position for James Forrest in the long term. But he's not going to be that this year. Because you've got James Forrest who came through the system, knows what it means, knows what it's like to work coming through the ranks. Can't see James Forrest really going into football management. You never know, he might want to. I don't think he's done any of his coaching badges, but long term, I think that James Forrest in the pathway manager position would be absolutely fantastic. And a summer of extreme discontent, yes, it will. We've got to keep Fozzie. The board's not fit for purpose, but the board aren't going anywhere. This is the hard part. Same old shit with this board. It is, mate, and it's going to be the same going forward. We had such high expectations. Do you know the rumour mill saying that Michael Nicholson was going to leave? He's not. We had such high expectations of going into this summer. I think that we're going to get let down big time. We will spend 30 to 40 million. We will bring players in. You know, Celtic will say it's a good transfer window. Martin O'Neill will say it's been a difficult transfer window, but the club will put it out that it's been a fantastically successful window because we've broke profit as per normal due to the fact that they've sold players more to the value of the players that they've brought in, as always. Anyway, calm down about James Forrest. Do you not think he would be good for that job? Just saying. And this will end up with James Forrest as player manager. This is very true. It's very true. If Martin doesn't get them both, he won't take it. I think he will take the job. There was rumours going around last night that a certain man who's resigned from his job yesterday is being lined up to take over, but I can't see that. Can't see it at all. Penny pinching as per usual. Yes, we are. And knows the city well. A lot of people know the city well. Also think that we're going to be let down big, says Brian. This is off. No, I'll do it on the other channel. If they can't negotiate with staff, God help us when it comes to players. Well, seemingly they've done video calls with players. I don't know who's doing the video calls. I mean, surely it would be Martin O'Neill. If anyone should be doing video calls with players, it has to be the gaffer, doesn't it? It's always been the gaffer. When you go back to Ange Postecoglou turned down players, remember, because after a telephone conversation, Ange Postecoglou says that he didn't think he had the right mentality to come to Celtic. One player in particular. And surely Martin O'Neill will be getting on the old to the WhatsApp video call to look at the guy in the eyes and see if he's really got the mettle, the mentality, and the attitude to play for Celtic. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks anyway. And there's the mainstream media all on the story as well. Martin O'Neill sees Celtic announcement delayed as club yet to thrash out terms with two key lieutenants. You would think, Do you know what astounds me at Celtic is if you think that if you're going to offer, if Martin O'Neill's going to get first refusal, um, if he's going to get first refusal, and you say to Martin, look, we're going to give you first refusal on the job, are you likely to want to keep Sean Maloney? And this is what a good company does. Would you like to keep Sean Maloney and Fozzie? Just so we could kind of see what they're looking at wage-wise. Because Celtic got them on the cheap, let's face it. Celtic would have got Sean Maloney way cheaper than what he would have expected. And Fozzie just answered the call and was out of work. So Celtic would say, well, that's the wage that you're getting. Maybe they're trying to get them both on loan. Feet off the gas as per. Ask me how I'm not surprised with this board. I need to get things moving. Unless Kieran McKenna is lying, he's left Ipswich because he needs a break from football. Well, there was a rumour last night that McKenna was coming to Celtic. It's not happening. It will be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see if he ends up at Celtic in a year's time. That's all that I'm saying. But it's very unusual for a young manager like him, especially after what he's went through last season, to want to take a year off. It's an interesting one. If we haven't got a manager who's picking these players, well, this is very true. Apparently, we're in for the next superstar, youngster from France. Really, only €600,000. Don't believe a word of that. The next AGM will be a sponsored silence. What's wrong with the 14 quid menu? Nothing. I have menu ideas every week. I've had a menu deal that's €11. 3-course meal for 11 quid. Can't beat it. A drink and a coffee. We signed a 5-foot centre back over a team's call. Yeah. What height are you, mate? Going to stand up? Are you sure you're 6'4"? Gets off the plane and he's like, gets off the plane and he's 5'2". Hopefully them reporting this now puts pressure on them. It happened with Martin O'Neill in the Keane situation. I don't think that the Keane situation, I think that there's a lot of disinformation going on about there. I don't think that Keane was actually offered the job. I think Keane had talks with Celtic. I think that was maybe jumped the gun by the fact that Martin O'Neill hadn't had talks with Celtic first. I think if Martin O'Neill had the talks with, it's a very weird situation because Dermot was in the same room as Martin many occasions at the end of the season, and you would think they would just turn around and go, like, Martin, do you want the job? I want a week to think about it. Right, okay, you old stottery gate. Oh, go and then have a week to think about it. Those lads in Kirkcaldy will be waiting on you coming out and saying. So hopefully Celtic will announce it tomorrow. So when Martin does turn up at Kirkcaldy tomorrow night, it'll be some good news for all the lads that will be there and the lasses that will be there. It's like guys, he's desperate to tell us. Some fan base going into overdrive. Yes, just like a sweetie wifey. This isn't Martin O'Neill's first rodeo. He persuaded the club to spend big first time round. He can do the same again. Surely that was one of his prerequisites. Celtic are going to spend big this summer anyway. When you look, this is a summer that similar to when Ange Postecoglou came in. Do you know there's a lot of players had left the club? There was going to have to be a lot of players come in, so we'll wait and see. If the board doesn't get the finger out, it would be just like driving a ladder into the Champions League qualifiers. Never mind the Honda Civic. Did they still make ladders? You remember them? They were like, if you're going to draw a car, if you were going to draw a car as a kid, that would be the shape that you would draw a car, and it would be a ladder, wasn't it? Hopefully we don't start riots at Parkheads. Our fans are being restless, frustrated, having to go through this crap for another season. That's not going to happen. Manager not announced by Celtic because they've heard Martin has been offered the job, and that's as far as it's gone so far. I saw McKenna linked with the Fulham job. Rumours is he's taking a year off, but we'll wait and see. We're not going to talk about a manager that isn't in contention with ours. The 14 quid menu is a story about Fair because McCann. All right, there you go. Celtic linked with 40 players and then ended up getting 3 duds on loan. You know Celtic so well. Celtic went an all-you-can-eat buffet for £1.99 at the local pub. Yes. Day off, I'm pissed already. Up the boys, fuck the board. You're pissed already? How could you be drunk at this time of day? Paul, I hope you're not in Scotland and like pissed for 9 in the morning. I'll take the job if the board are going for a cheap option. Dragging our heels FC. McKenna is coming. Fuck it, says Paul. How awkward will it be when it gets to the questions tomorrow night? Is the thing is you know, fans will be saying, what the hell's went on all week? It'll be interesting. It will be interesting. I'll preload my brother with questions to ask Martin. Celtic couldn't afford not to spend big this summer. This is very true. No way McKenna's coming. The board would need to pay up £7 million in compensation, even though he's resigned from his club. Keane saying McGinn is a pub player. Interesting. What Keane? Robbie Keane? McKenna's already been in Premiership. Yeah, we've got relegated the season before last. Yes, it is. How many loan players are we allowed? It's going to be the majority of the squad at this rate. They'll have to announce whenever that happens, Martin O'Neill, before tomorrow night, surely. You would think so. You would think so. What happens if Martin O'Neill isn't announced by the end of Friday? He's going to have a really awkward questioning night at in Kirkcaldy and the other events that he's at over the weekend. I believe that he's at 2 or 3 events over the course of the weekend. Do we need a pokey stick to make the board do something? If Hattati and Engels leave, we'll have 30 million plus in the bank to add to the 60 odd million that's in the bank. When Stephen McCowan reported it, he still mentioned that when Martin is announced, his first job will be to sign off on multiple signings from a list made up from the scouting team. Leave Martin to answer questions that Nicholson should answer. Yes, it's very Celtic way, isn't it? He's going to get hounded all weekend about. He is, isn't he? I feel sorry for Martin. He's going to be wanting to sit there and he's going to be like, lads, just be gentle. I don't know, be gentle on the old geezer. Make sure you've got good coffee in the house for him. None of that Nescafe Gold stuff, like real, like decent coffee. I've actually stopped bawling about all of it. Yeah, I think we need to. The World Cup starts tonight, and on the other channel, I'm going to let you listen to a Scotland song that my dad sent me. I think it's one of his mates that wrote it. Yeah, it's rather, it's yeah. Due to upcoming events, do you think that is why Martin O'Neill has not been announced? You would think that he would have to be, you would want him to be announced before those events. Surely. Surely. They seek him, they seek him there. They seek Martin everywhere. They do that. Other teams are already moving players in and out while we appear to be doing nothing. Sounds familiar again. Our scouting team is agents. Bring back Kyogo alongside Kelechi. That would be awesome. I think Kelechi is not going to be a Celtic player next season. Just saying. I've got a feeling that Martin O'Neill coming back is going to turn out bad for him and his reputation, going to be an scapegoat for Dermot Desmond and the board being lazy. It is something that was always. I think that Martin will win the league next year. Don't know. I don't think that McInnes or Danny Rowe will be sacked by December. I don't think that Derek McInnes will have the same luxury that he had last season with his team. You know, the fact that they didn't have any European football. Now, Hearts might get pumped out of Europe before the league even starts. That would be hilarious. And if they don't have European football, then they could make a bit of a fight for it. But I think that McInnes will drop off like he's done previous jobs. You know, you get one good season and then you try to replicate that season, and it doesn't really work. Consistency is a hard thing to keep going. Celtic have proved that over the years, but we'll wait and see. And then when it comes to that other mob across the city, I can't see them spending another 40 million like they did last year, which means that they'll have to cut their cloth, which means that Danny Rowe will be sacked by December, rinse and repeat. We know how that club goes. But he said he would still have him in his squad every week. Martin O'Neill isn't coming back, let's face it, says Paul. Ooh. Just to wait and see. Anyway, not one word from any of them supporting Martin O'Neill after the Hearts game. Shameful. Yeah, but it is what it is. Anyway, it's just a quick one this morning. There is still no news from Celtic. I'm going to jump on to the other channel because the Basda's football channel, because I want to talk about Scotland and I want to talk about everything World Cup. I want to just keep this Celtic because people moan when I don't just keep it about Celtic. So I'm going to jump onto the Basda's football channel where I want to talk about the World Cup starting this evening, and I'm going to let you listen to a Scotland song. Yeah. I'm taking my granny to Miami. Anyway, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are all around the world.